Hi everyone, welcome back to Beauty Beyond 40. As promised, it's my jowls update video. I posted a very popular video about a month ago talking you through my new approach that I was going to try to improve my jowls area on my face and basically the whole bottom portion of my face. So I did a 30-day test. The results are here. I can't wait to share them with you. Anticipation has been building a lot on all my social media channels as I've been posting little clips along the way because so many of you are interested in this topic. So I'm really excited for today's video. And keep in mind, if you think I'm talking too much or you don't care about one of the topics I'm talking about, I always create chapters in my YouTube videos. So please feel free to always skip ahead to any part of the video that you wish. Before we get started, if you're new here, hi, my name's Trina. I'm 49 years old. I make videos mostly about beauty devices. My entire channel is about alternatives to Botox and filler, so at-home alternatives you can do instead of injectables. I've been doing this for years and years, and I'm very passionate about testing out new devices to help you figure out if they're right for you, if they're even worth it for anyone. I'm also on TikTok and Instagram, and I have a private Facebook group all about beauty devices with almost 32,000 members. I will leave links to all of this down in the description so you can go check it out later. So in today's video, I'm gonna talk you through briefly my new approach that I've been using for the past month to deal with my jowls area. And I know many of you say, you don't have jowls, I don't have severe jowling, that is true. However, this area is getting a little saggy and my channel is also about preventative aging techniques. So part of the reason I did this test, I wanted to see if I could use devices to improve this area and continue to do that over time so that I can prevent really intense jowling. But it's definitely in worse shape than it was almost 10 years ago when I started my channel. So that's why I'm making this video, and also because this topic is so important to so many of you watching. Jowling and marionette lines and nasolabial folds, it's a very, very hot topic. So I'm not just making this video for me, I'm making it for you so that you can apply some of the techniques or all the techniques that I'm gonna show you today on your own face and neck. So just wanted to put that out there. People comment that I'm lying because I don't move my face, but I don't move my face muscles when I talk. Like here's my forehead. They say I can't frown. I'm frowning. Here's all my face muscles. I just am not expressive when I talk and when I'm on camera. If somebody commented something really funny like, I'm not Jim Carrey. I'm not gonna be like Jim Carrey when I'm making my videos. So I wish that if you're thinking of making that comment, you won't make that comment because authenticity and transparency are so important to me. And when you call me a liar, it really, really upsets me because I work so hard to help my community and I am not lying about not having Botox and filler. I'm showing you that what I'm doing is working on my face. Since I have never had anything injected into my face, what I'm doing with these devices has to be working. I think my skin is getting better and like my hooded eyes are getting better and my face is staying youthful looking despite being almost 50 years old. So in this video, I'm gonna talk you through this new approach that I tested out for the last month. I'm gonna answer a lot of the questions and concerns that I saw come through on my social media channels and that initial jowls video I did on YouTube. I have a demo of using my Myolift Mini with the gloves to do the microcurrent treatment that I did over the past month. And then I have a demo of using the Myolift Mini probes, the Myolift QT Plus, and how you can incorporate that with the other microcurrent devices that you might have, including the ZIIP Halo, the NuFACE Trinity Plus, and the FOREO Bear. And that does apply to any NuFACE device you have and any FOREO Bear device you have because it's essentially the same technique that you would use. So I have demos for all of that. And then I have a set of before and after photos so I can show you how my face has changed after this 30-day test. Now I also used my Envig Edge radio frequency device. I used my Current Body Series 2 LED mask and my Mesama Prana LED mask. So I'm gonna show you all of that. In my previous video, I had talked about how I was going to do the VIB or the muscle stimulation mode using my tripolar stop VX2 or my VX2 Gold. And I only did that once. I decided not to do it anymore because I'm already stimulating my muscles with my microcurrent devices and I didn't want to overdo it. You don't want to overstimulate your muscles. Like when you go to the gym, you don't want to overdo it. Same concept. So I ended up not using the tripolar stop VX2 device, and because I have the Envig Edge, I use that one. So I'll talk through everything I did. These demos focus only on my neck and the lower portion of my face, and I put together full demos of my full face and neck with all of the devices that I'm gonna link to so that you can follow the tutorials later on. Like if you want to learn how to use the gloves in this new way or using the probes in this new way, for example, I have a separate video that I'm going to put together where you can follow that from beginning to end that doesn't have all the rest of this Jowls information in it. So I'll link to that as soon as it's ready to go live so you'll have a new tutorial to follow. But for today, I'm just gonna focus on the Jowls and keep the focus really tight because there's a lot to go over today. Before I get into the new technique, I want to address a few of the comments and questions that came through on my social media pages when I posted clips about my new Jowls technique. A lot of people were saying your results are going to be temporary, the lift isn't going to stick, why don't you just go get a facelift? And I want to reiterate that my channel is about alternatives to Botox and filler, alternatives to getting a facelift. I don't plan to do any of those things anytime soon as long as I keep using my devices. This work I do of stimulating collagen and elastin production with beauty devices is a very long game. It takes at least 30 days for the new collagen that you're stimulating to show on the surface of your skin. And you have to continually be using these devices because as we age, collagen is depleting faster and faster. To keep up with the decrease of collagen, we need to keep using devices to increase that stimulation. So it's a constant cycle of using these devices to keep stimulating that collagen, and it is a long game, and the results are very subtle. I want subtle results. If you are used to getting Botox or filler and walking out of your appointment with your face looking totally different, this is not the channel for you. This is not the approach for you. These results are subtle and you'll notice your face looking better and more youthful over time. And I always take photos along the way so I can see how my efforts are impacting my face and if I like the results. But it is very subtle, and the results I'm gonna show you today are just from 30 days, and I definitely saw a difference, but it is very subtle. So if you look at the photos and you say, I don't see any difference, that's fine, then this is not the channel for you, this is not the approach for you, and you'd probably be better off getting injectables or getting your procedures, because that is not what this channel is about. I don't personally want to look like I have injectables. I want to look like me. I like how I look, and I want to preserve my youthful look. And so that's my goal. And people were commenting, this lift isn't going to stay. You're right that the lift isn't going to stay that way for a long time when you first start doing this approach. But what happens is the results are cumulative over time. So you start to see the lift lasting a little bit longer, a little bit longer, a little bit longer, and your face will start to change because with microcurrent, you're stimulating the muscles of your face and your neck, and you're building ATP, you're stimulating collagen and elastin, and it takes time. It's like going to the gym and building up muscles. You're not gonna see a plumped up muscle from one session at the gym. You gotta keep going, and it's hard work. It's much more subtle on your face than it is on your body that I've seen. So keep that in mind. Like, I'm not promising you that you're going to look like you have a face full of filler or you've gotten your face injected with Botox after you do one of these treatments. So what I've noticed is when I do these tests, your face will start to hold the lift longer and longer as you keep using these devices. And if you stop using the devices, yes, the lift is going to fall because you have to keep producing collagen. So it doesn't make any sense that you would do a device routine, your face looks great, you're using your LED mask, for example, and then you're like, oh, I love how my face looks. I think I can stop now. Well, then you're going to start seeing those results lessening over time because the collagen is depleting and you're aging and there's gravity and all these things happening. So you have to keep it up. So yes, you do have to keep doing these devices over time. If you go get injectables, I think you have to keep getting those as well. Maybe not as often. You do have to keep getting Botox as it wears off, and then more filler as it wears off. So there is maintenance required to all of this, but I would rather build natural collagen and elastin in my body to make my face look more youthful as opposed to injecting substances into my face. So that's my approach. And if that aligns with your approach, you will love my channel. And there's no shade against you if you get injectables or facelift. If you're doing that and it's working for you, then great. But this channel is for people that don't want to get injectables or they can't get injectables for whatever reason. I want there to be an alternative, and that's what my channel is all about. So I wanted to put it out there because I got a lot of comments of people that just didn't seem to be satisfied with what I'm trying to do, or they wanted to argue with me, and I'm not here to argue, I'm here to help you. If you're still here and you didn't skip ahead, thank you for listening to me rant, but it is very important to me that I'm creating content that my community wants, and I listen to everything you say, so I want to make sure that if you're watching and you're frustrated with my message, then this isn't the channel for you. So let's move on to talking about my new jowls approach. So in my previous video I did a month ago, I talked about how the depressor muscle gets tight and can pull down the corners of your mouth, and that your neck gets tight and can pull down your entire face. And then as we age, our cheeks and our jawline start to sag, and what happens is you'll get marionette lines. It starts to pull down here. As your face droops, it starts to create jowling. So my approach was to lengthen the neck and stretch it out with microcurrent, and lengthen and stretch out the depressor muscle and the chin and the whole mouth area. Basically, if you create an imaginary circle around your mouth, that's the area that you would do the lengthening of the muscles, and then everywhere else you would do lifting and tightening and toning of the muscles. And hopefully with that approach, your face will start to look more youthful. And that's what I tested. The only way I knew how to do this test is with the Myolift devices, because only the Myolift devices have that erase mode, or that erase waveform, that allows you to lengthen the muscle and stretch the muscle wherever you want to do that. All the other microcurrent devices I have do not have that waveform. I think this is very confusing because when you follow any of the demos for any of these devices that tighten the muscle, it always includes going over that depressor muscle. Many people say they use microcurrent devices and they've noticed their jowls getting worse, or they've noticed their nasolabial folds or their marionette lines getting worse. It could be because that microcurrent is tightening the muscle and just pulling the whole thing down, instead of lengthening this center area and then using microcurrent to lift and tighten the cheeks and the jawline. So it is very important that you use a Myolift device, whether it's the Mini or the Tri-Wave or the QT Plus. Those are the devices that have erase or stretch mode. And I ended up doing the test with the gloves because now that I'm almost 50, I'm paying more attention to my neck, and part of this approach is to stretch out and lengthen the neck, and I think that's really important. I wasn't really using microcurrent on my neck earlier besides the demos I was doing because I didn't have tech necklines and it wasn't really a big concern of mine, but it has become a big concern of mine. And when you try to do the Myolift Mini probes on your neck, it's so hard to get conduction because it's so thin, and I was having a really hard time, and somebody suggested, why don't you use the gloves? And I tried the gloves and it's a total game changer. And now I am obsessed with the gloves. It's all I want to use. You don't have to use any gel, you just use water. And then you're basically massaging and stretching out your neck and getting this really great microcurrent treatment with all the surface area of your neck so fast. And you can do this side of your neck and this side of your neck. You can use your fingers to lengthen the muscles around your mouth and stretch them out. Then you can move on to the educate portion of the treatment, where you're lifting and tightening and toning the other muscles outside of this circle. So you use the gloves to lift up and sculpt all of the muscles on your cheeks and jawline, and the gloves are amazing. They work so well. You can get done so much faster because the probes, you're doing each little area and it takes a really long time, and with the gloves you can get done so fast. So I show you how I did the gloves on erase with my Myolift Mini, then I showed the gloves on educate. And then the next part of my routine is LED, because that's also helping to tighten the skin on my face. And then I use the Envig Edge, which is a radio frequency device from Tripolar. It's only available outside of the US, unfortunately, but it is a radio frequency device that tightens the skin and resurfaces the skin, and it doesn't require any gel. And I stamp it across my whole face, and it takes 4 minutes, and I'm done. To do actually my face, neck, and back of my hand, so it's shorter than that if I'm just doing my face and my neck. And I love this device, and I was doing that 2 to 3 times a week. I was doing LED almost every single day, so 6 days a week, I would say. And the gloves I was using 3 times a week. So that's the full routine, but I'm gonna show you all of that in the demo portion. And then I'm gonna show you how you can do the same technique using the probes on erase mode and the probes on educate mode, in case you don't want to use the gloves, you don't have the gloves for some reason, or you like the probes better. It seems like most people like the gloves better because they're so much easier to use, but in case you don't want to use the gloves, I'll show you how to use the probes, and then I will show you how you can use your QT device to do stretch and lift in the same way that I used the gloves. And keep in mind, you can plug the gloves into your QT Plus device. So you can do everything that I show you in the first portion of the demo with your QT Plus, and that's what I recommend. However, if you're traveling or you're really short on time or you're busy or you just don't want to deal, it's better to do the QT Plus device rather than skipping the whole treatment. So I wanted to show you how that looks. Just in case for some reason you don't want to use the gloves or the probes, you can use the QT Plus, but you're not going to get as good of results because with the gloves, you're able to really manipulate the muscle and stretch it and pull it apart and lift up your face, and you can really manipulate it the best with your hands and the gloves. And then the probes, you can manipulate the muscles pretty well, but not as well as the gloves. And then with the QT Plus, you're not going to get the same results because the probes are connected and you really can't manipulate the muscle as well. So if you're going to use the QT Plus device for this technique, I recommend not doing it too often. Maybe you're going to do it a couple times a month at most if you have to, and use the gloves and the probes all the rest of the time if you really want to see the best results. A lot of you are asking, how can I incorporate my NuFACE, ZIIP, or FOREO Bear into this whole process? And the bad news is that you cannot use any of those devices to loosen up or lengthen the muscles around your mouth and your depressor and your neck, because those devices don't have that lengthening waveform. But you could use, for example, the gloves or probes or even the QT Plus around the mouth and neck, or you could even do facial massage or gua sha to just stretch the area and stretch the muscles. It's not going to be as good as microcurrent because you're not going to be stimulating ATP and using that low-level electrical current to stimulate the muscles and help to really lengthen them. But if you don't have access to that erase or stretch mode, you could potentially do some stretching and massage with your hands or with a gua sha tool. And then after that, you would use your NuFACE, your ZIIP, or your FOREO Bear everywhere else on your face to lift, tighten, and tone and sculpt your jawline and your cheeks. So I wanted to show you what that would look like since a lot of you asked me, and I didn't want to leave anyone out. I did not use the ZIIP, the FOREO Bear, or the NuFACE for any of my 30-day tests that I did because I didn't need to. I just used the Myolift gloves. So I know that's confusing and complicated, and if it doesn't make sense, drop me a comment, let me know, I'll help you out. But I wanted to make this video really comprehensive and cover everybody's concerns and questions because there were so many questions and comments and feedback, and I wanted to make sure I addressed everyone who commented on my video because this is supposed to be a conversation and a learning experience for all of us. So I wanted to include all of you. Here is my first set of before and after photos where I'm smiling slightly so you can see some of the dynamic wrinkles and lines and sagginess around my mouth and my jowl area. And overall, I am really impressed with how much lifted and thinner and youthful my face looks in the after photo. I see the corners of my mouth looking tighter and I see fewer lines. I see the jowls area just looking so much tighter and smoother. And here I zoomed in so that we can see a closer look. In case you're looking on your phone, you might not be able to see them as well. So here they are again. I think my corners of my mouth and my jowls and my chin area look so much smoother and so much younger. And the jowls area on the sides of my face there and my cheeks The lower cheeks look so much better. And then lastly here, I pursed my lips because that's where you can really start to see the dynamic wrinkling and sagging around my jowls and around my mouth. And I think this after photo looks so much better. The lines aren't as deep. The sagginess isn't as saggy. I think that there's just a really great improvement. And keep in mind, this was only a 30-day test. As I keep doing this in 60, 90, 120 days, I'm sure the results are gonna get even better. And I'm going to keep doing this approach because I'm really happy with the results I saw. And I can snap some more pictures along the way and keep you updated. And I would love it if you would let me know, are you gonna do the same? Are you gonna take photos and try this approach and share what your results are? Because I wanna help you and I want the community to help each other as well. Moving on to the demo portion, I'm going to start with the Myolift Gloves demo, and I'm going to first apply some of the vitamin C serum from 7E Wellness. I don't have sensitive skin, and I always love to start with a vitamin C serum. And I'm applying the serum everywhere where I will be using the gloves. Here are my pair of gloves, and before you put the gloves on, you need to wear liner gloves underneath. These are my vinyl gloves that I got from Amazon. I will link to them down in the description, but basically you want to wear gloves so that the microcurrent goes to your face and not to your hands. And then you attach the cords to get your gloves to be connected to your Myolift device. And then you need to wet the gloves because you're using water instead of gel. And I'm going to start on level 2 erase at 350 microamps for this demo. And I'll start by stretching out the muscles above my lips, slowly lengthening those muscles. Then I'll move to the depressor muscle and lengthen that, stretch it and pull it apart before I move on to the other side and do the same thing on the other depressor muscle. And when I'm done with that, I'll move to the middle of my chin and lengthen that muscle so that I don't get that line above my chin. And then I move on to the neck area, and you can see I'm often looking down to make sure I have conduction, and I'm just stretching and lengthening my neck and pulling it apart. I think I'm putting my hand up a little bit too high up on the top of my face. I do a better job on the other side, but you are just trying to lengthen the neck muscles, and then you do it diagonally to lengthen this muscle here in your neck. So you're just stretching out and lengthening the whole side of your neck. And then you do the same thing on the other side, lengthening the neck straight up and down and then diagonally. And you want to make sure you don't do the center of your neck. So don't do your thyroid, your throat, and don't go too far back behind your ear where you have some arteries that you don't want to apply a microcurrent to. And now I'm moving on to educate at intensity 350. And remember, don't use educate anywhere around that imaginary circle that we just stretched out. So I'm going to start on my jawline. And I love using the gloves because it's so easy to do basically your whole jawline in just 2 moves here, because you can use your fingers to pinch the jawline to lift, tighten, and tone this area. And I'm not going anywhere near my depressor muscle. I'm starting outside that imaginary circle to do these moves. So I'm just pinching both sides of my face around my jawline. And then when I'm done with this, I move on to my cheek area. And you can do the whole area from your jawline up to your cheek. There's more surface area to do here, more like this. You can do the lower part of your cheek and then work your way up, but you get the idea. You're just pinching the muscles on your jawline and cheek. This next move should look very familiar from using the probes, but I'm basically lifting up my jawline and my cheeks, but being very careful to not go anywhere where my depressor muscle is. So I'm only working outside that imaginary circle, and I'm just lifting up and holding. And you can see I got a pretty good lift already on that one side. I do the same thing on the other side, just lifting and holding, staying outside that imaginary circle to lift up and hold the muscles on my jawline and my cheekbone area. And I'm done with that move. And now is my favorite part, where I get to just pull up my whole face with the gloves, and I just push and hold. It feels like a facial massage, and it feels like you can really sculpt and manipulate your face because you're lifting up your entire face with the gloves, as you can see here. And now I'm moving on to the other side, and it's just a really easy way to get a really impressive lift on your face. As we'll see here in just a minute, this lift is pretty impressive. Look at that lift. And it's important to keep working both sides of your face until you see the symmetry like this that you're happy with before you finish your routine. And next I'm going to show you my quick LED mask demo, and I know that you're all going to ask me what's the order I should be doing my devices in, and if you want to do them all together, you would do LED followed by radio frequency followed by microcurrent, but honestly I was doing mine on different days and different times of the days just based on my schedule, so I didn't find that that mattered. But if it does matter to you and you want to sync it up, I would do LED first, then radio frequency, and then microcurrent. During the 30-day test, I was rotating between the Current Body New Series 2 mask and the Mesama Prana Pulsed LED mask. And then the last modality I used for this test is radio frequency. This is my Envig Edge device that I use 2 to 3 times a week. This device tightens the skin and resurfaces the skin. It's so easy to use. You use it on clean, dry skin and just stamp the areas you want to treat. For this video, I'm only showing you the lower portion of my face and my neck because that's the area I'm focusing on for this jowls test. If you want to see me using it on my entire face, neck, and back of hands, I have a separate video all about this device with a full demo. I will link to that, but this device has 3 levels. I use it on the 3rd level because I don't have sensitive skin. I find it to be a very comfortable, fast, and effective device to use, and I love it. So that wraps up the demo portion of all the devices I used and how I used them for the 30-day jowls test. And now I will show you how you can use the other devices mentioned to do the same moves. If you want to use the Myolift probes or the QT Plus or other microcurrent devices. And I want to be clear about this next section of the demos because I just did microcurrent on my face and my neck with the gloves. I'm not going to turn these devices on from now on because I don't want to overdo it and I'm not going to overstimulate my muscles. I already worked my muscles, so this will be purely for demo purposes to show you the movements, but you will not see any results or any lift in my face muscles because the devices will not be on. I'm going to speed up this demo because it's basically the same movements, but first I'm going to apply gel all over my face and my neck, and I'm starting by lengthening and pulling apart the muscles on the top and below my lips. Then I lengthen the depressor muscle and the muscle above my chin. And then I move on to the neck area and pull apart and stretch and lengthen my neck up and down, going up a little bit into the jawline. And then I do the diagonal move. And then I do the same thing on the other side, lengthening up and down and then diagonally, keeping to the center and not doing the throat, thyroid, or too far back behind my ear. Then I'm doing the pinch and holds on my jawline on both sides before moving up to the cheek area and just pinching and holding muscles around this area to lift, tighten, and tone and sculpt the whole area. And then I move on to this next move to further lift and sculpt the jawline and cheeks area. But see how I am not going anywhere inside the imaginary circle, so I'm not using educate mode on my depressor muscle. Then I move on to lifting up the entire side of my face like I was doing with the gloves, just holding one probe on the side of your face and then using the other probe to lift up the entire side of the face. Now I will show you how to do the same technique using the Myolift QT Plus. I already have gel on my face from using the Myolift Mini, so I'm on stretch mode with the QT Plus and lengthening and stretching out those muscles around my mouth, including the depressor and the chin muscle. Then I lengthen and stretch out the neck muscles on both sides of my neck, up and down and diagonally, and I'm making sure I don't do the center of my neck and I don't go too far back behind my ear. And then I move to lift, tighten, and tone the muscles, and I'm lifting and tightening and carving out my jawline and my cheeks. As you can see here, I'm making sure that I don't do these moves anywhere inside that imaginary circle around my mouth where I just lengthened and stretched out the muscles, and I'm just lifting and carving out and toning the jawline and the cheeks. And now I will show you how you can use your other microcurrent devices, but only to lift, tighten, and tone the areas outside the imaginary circle around your mouth because you don't want to touch the depressor muscle. So I'm using my ZIIP Halo here, and I'm moving the globes around my jawline and my cheeks to carve out the area and lift, tighten, and tone those muscles, but I'm not going over the depressor muscle at all. And now I'll show you how I use the NuFACE Trinity device. Again, I'm being very careful looking in a mirror to make sure that I only am using the device outside of the imaginary circle. So I'm lifting and sculpting the cheeks, the jawline, carving it out, sculpting it and lifting it, but being very careful to not use the device over my depressor muscle. And then the last device here is the FOREO Bear. The moves are almost exactly the same as the NuFACE Trinity. I'm looking into a mirror and just working the jawline and the cheeks to lift, sculpt, and carve out the area, and that's it. So that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I actually was quite surprised at how popular this topic is, and I'd love to keep the conversation going. So please drop down in the comments your feedback on my photos. Do you think it worked? Are you also doing this test? If you found this video helpful, give it a like, share with a friend, leave a comment, and make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my videos, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.